The small diner on Oak Street had been there for 40 years. Same red booths, same cracked linoleum floor, same menu that hadn't changed since 1985. Donald Trump ate breakfast there every Saturday morning. 73 years old, retired Army sergeant, he sat at the same corner booth, ordered the same thing. 2 eggs over easy, wheat toast, black coffee. The waitress, Betty, was 68, had worked there for 30 years, knew every regular by name and order. "Morning, Mr. Trump." "The usual?" "Please, Betty. How's your grandson? Starting high school next week. Can't believe how fast they grow." Donald smiled. "They never slow down. Only we do." Betty laughed, poured his coffee, headed to the kitchen. The diner was moderately busy that Saturday. Families, a few couples, some solo diners reading newspapers. Normal weekend morning. Then the door opened. A man walked in. Mid-40s, disheveled, eyes darting around nervously. He sat at the counter, ordered coffee, nothing else, just coffee. Donald noticed. Old habits from military intelligence training, the way the man's leg bounced constantly, the way he kept checking the door, the way his hand kept going to his jacket pocket. Something was wrong. If you believe that sometimes the most important battles happen over breakfast, type vigilance and subscribe. Because this story proves that heroes don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they just pay attention. The man at the counter drank his coffee quickly. Too quickly. Burned his mouth but didn't seem to care. Then he stood up, pulled something from his jacket pocket. A gun. Everyone freeze. Don't move, don't scream. Just do what I say, and nobody gets hurt. The diner went silent. A child started crying. Her mother quickly quieted her. The man's gun hand was shaking. He was terrified, which made him more dangerous. "You," he pointed at the cashier, a young woman named Maria. "Open the register, all of it. Now." Maria's hands trembled as she opened the register, started pulling out bills. The gunman looked around wildly. "Phones. All of you, put your phones on the tables. Now." People complied, scared, silent. Donald sat still in his corner booth, assessed the situation. The gunman was an amateur, desperate, not professional. The gun was old, possibly not even loaded. His stance was wrong, his trigger discipline was terrible, and most importantly, his attention was scattered. Donald had 2 options: stay quiet and let it happen, or intervene and risk everyone's safety. He chose option 3, talk. "Son," Donald's voice was calm, steady, not threatening. The gunman spun toward him. "Shut up, old man." I said, "Don't move. I'm not moving." "But I think we should talk." The gun pointed at Donald now. "About what?" "About what happens next. Because I don't think you've thought this through." The gunman's eyes were wild. "You don't know anything about me. You're right. But I know desperation when I see it. I know that shaking your hand isn't from confidence, it's from fear. And I know you don't really want to hurt anyone here." "Shut up, just shut up," Donald continued, voice even. "How much is in that register? Maybe $300? $400 on a good day? Is that worth spending the next 20 years in prison?" I said, "Shut up." The gunman was sweating now. "Look around. You've got families here, kids, working people just trying to have breakfast. You pull that trigger even once and your life is over. Not just prison. You'll have to live with what you did. Every single day. Who are you? Some kind of cop? Retired Army? 43 years? Seen a lot of desperate men make bad choices. Some of them found another way. Some of them didn't. I'm trying to help you be the first kind." The gunman's hand was shaking worse now. "You don't understand. I lost everything. My job, my house, my family. I have nothing left. I understand more than you think. But this," Donald gestured around, "this isn't the answer. This makes it worse, not better." Betty, the elderly waitress, slowly stood up. The gunman swung the gun toward her. Sit down." Betty's voice was gentle. "Honey, when's the last time you ate?" The gunman blinked, confused by the question. "What? When did you last have a real meal?" The gunman's face crumpled. 3 days? Maybe 4? Betty moved slowly toward him. "I'm going to make you a plate. Okay? You can keep that gun if it makes you feel safer. But let me make you some food. You can't rob a diner on an empty stomach." That's just not right. The absurdity of it broke something in the room. The tension shifted. Betty went to the kitchen, came back with a plate, eggs, bacon, toast, hash browns. She set it on the counter. The gunman stared at it. "Why? Why are you helping me?" "Because you're a human being having the worst day of your life. And I've been around long enough to know that. Everybody deserves a meal, especially when they're hurting." Donald slowly stood up. The gunman didn't stop him. Walked over to the counter, sat down 2 stools away. The gun was still in the man's hand, but no longer pointed at anyone. "What's your name?" The gunman's voice was barely a whisper. "Michael." "I'm Donald, and this is Betty, and that's Maria at the register. And everyone here is going to sit quietly while you eat that food and figure out what you really want to do next." Michael's hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the fork. "I don't know what I'm doing. I can't take it anymore. Everything fell apart. And I thought maybe if I could just get some money, I could start over somewhere else. But even as I walked in here, I knew it was stupid." Donald nodded. "Desperation makes us stupid. I once knew a soldier who tried to rob a convenience store after he came home from war. PTSD. No job. No support. He was about to pull the trigger when the clerk, a Vietnam vet, recognized the look in his eye, talked him down, got him help." "What happened to him?" "He's a counselor now, helps other veterans. Turns out his worst moment became his purpose." Michael ate slowly. Between bites, he talked about his divorce, about losing his job as an accountant when his company downsized, about his daughter who wouldn't talk to him anymore, about sleeping in his car for 2 months, about how this morning he woke up and decided he couldn't keep going unless something changed. "So you came here with a gun?" Michael nodded, ashamed. "It's not even loaded. I couldn't afford bullets. Couldn't even do this right." Donald looked at Betty. She nodded. Donald gently reached over. "May I?" Michael handed him the gun. Donald checked it. "Empty." He set it on the counter. "Okay, here's what's going to happen next. Michael, you're going to finish that food. Then Betty's going to pack you another meal to go. Maria, you're going to give Michael the application for the dishwasher job that's been open for 3 weeks. The owner keeps complaining he can't find anyone. And I'm going to make some calls. Get you into a veterans services program. They help with housing, job placement, mental health support. But you're also going to walk out of here and turn yourself in." "Turn myself in? I just tried to rob you, with an unloaded gun while having a breakdown. That matters. You didn't hurt anyone. You listened when people tried to help you. That counts for something, but you still need to face what you did. Own it, then move forward." Michael started crying. "I'm so tired, I know, but tired isn't the same as finished." Donald pulled out his phone, called someone, explained the situation. Hung up, a crisis counselor and a veterans advocate are on their way. 20 minutes, they'll meet you at the police station, help you navigate what comes next. Michael wiped his face. "Why are you helping me?" "Because someone helped me once. Because that's what we do. Because you're not beyond saving." 30 minutes later, Michael walked out of the diner, not in handcuffs, walking on his own. Donald walked with him. At the police station, true to his word, 2 people were waiting. The crisis counselor, a woman named Dr. Sarah Chen. The veterans advocate, a man named James. Michael turned to Donald. "I don't know how to thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you're on the other side of this, when you've rebuilt, when you're helping someone else who's where you are right now." 1 year later, Donald sat in that same corner booth. Same Saturday morning, same order. Betty poured his coffee. "You hear about Michael?" Donald looked up. "What about him? He got the dishwasher job, worked his way up to assistant manager, saved enough to get an apartment. And you'll never believe this, he volunteers now. At the crisis center, talks to people who are thinking about doing something desperate, uses his story to help them see another way." Donald smiled. "That's good. That's real good." Betty sat down across from him, something she rarely did. "You know what he told me last week? He said that morning he walked in here, he was planning to rob us and then go to the bridge. End it all. Said he figured if he was going to die anyway, might as well try to get some money first, so his daughter would have something. But then you talked to him, and I fed him, and Maria gave him hope, and he realized maybe there was still a reason to stay." Donald was quiet for a moment. Sometimes all people need is someone to see them, really see them, not as a threat or a problem, but as a human being who's struggling. Betty squeezed his hand. "That's a gift, Mr. Trump." "No, that's just being awake, paying attention. The gift is what Michael did with his second chance. 6 months after that. Conversation, Donald received a letter. "Mr. Trump, you don't know me, but I know you. My name is David. Michael, the man from the diner, is my counselor now. I was planning to kill myself last month, but Michael told me his story, about the diner, about the unloaded gun, about you and Betty and Maria, about how his worst day became his turning point. He said if he could come back from that, maybe I could too. I'm writing to tell you he was right. I'm still here. I'm getting help. I'm fighting. And it's because you didn't give up on him, so he didn't give up on me. Thank you for starting this chain." Donald read the letter 3 times, showed it to Betty next Saturday. She cried. "We just gave him breakfast. That's all we did. We gave him breakfast and treated him like he mattered. Sometimes that's everything." Today, Michael works as the Community Outreach Director for a mental health organization. He shares his story at schools, churches, community centers, talks about desperation, about hope, about the diner on Oak Street where 3 strangers saved his life with eggs, coffee, and compassion. He's helped 43 people in crisis find treatment instead of tragedy. Started a program called Second Plate, providing free meals and counseling referrals for people in desperate situations. Partnered with 15 diners and restaurants across the state. And it all started because one 73-year-old veteran noticed something wrong and chose to engage instead of looking away. One Saturday morning, 3 years after the incident, Donald walked into the diner, saw someone sitting in his usual booth. Michael. He stood when Donald entered. They shook hands. "Heard you were coming. Wanted to thank you again. You've thanked me enough. Been following your work. You're helping a lot of people." Michael smiled. "Learned from the best. Remember what you told me? That my worst moment could become my purpose? Turns out you were right." Donald sat down. Michael sat across from him. Betty brought 2 coffees without asking. "You know what I realized?" Michael said. "What's that?" "That morning, I walked in here thinking I had nothing left to lose, but actually I had everything left to gain. I just couldn't see it through the desperation. That's what desperation does, blinds you to possibility. But you made me see again. All 3 of you. You treated me like I was worth saving. So I started believing maybe I was." Betty wiped her eyes with her apron, walked away before she started crying again. Donald looked at Michael. "You are worth saving. Always were. Question is, what are you going to do with the life you chose to keep living?" Michael pulled out his phone, showed Donald a video. It was a young man, maybe 20 years old, speaking to a camera. "My name is David. 6 months ago, I met a counselor named Michael who told me about the worst day of his life, how he almost threw everything away, how 3 people in a diner showed him he mattered. That story saved my life, and now I'm studying to be a counselor too. Because if Michael can come back from that and help people like me, then maybe I can help people too. Maybe that's how we fix things. One conversation, one meal, one person at a time. The video ended. Donald handed the phone back. That's your legacy. Not what you almost did, what you chose to do instead. Michael nodded. I carry something with me now. Every day. He pulled out his wallet. Inside was a small card. On it, 3 words. You matter. Choose life. I give these out. To everyone I counsel, to strangers who look lost, to anyone who seems like they're carrying too much weight. Because that's what you gave me that day. The reminder that I mattered, that life was still a choice I could make. Donald looked at the card, then at Michael, then at Betty, who'd come back with plates of food, then at Maria at the register, who waved. This is what healing looks like, not just one person getting better, but that person turning around and pulling others up with them, creating a chain of hope. If you believe that treating someone with dignity can change the trajectory of their entire life, hit like, type "You Matter" in the comments, and subscribe. Because this story proves that heroism isn't always about physical courage. Sometimes it's about moral courage, the courage to see someone at their worst and still treat them like they're worth saving. The courage to offer compassion when fear says run. The courage to believe that no one is beyond redemption. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to give up on someone who's given up on themselves.